Once in a while, an AI tool pops up that delivers beyond expectations. The newly released LivePortrait Face Animator is one of those tools. It ticks all the boxes: simple to use, open source, completely free, no limitations, local install, and produces truly incredible results in terms of quality. LivePortrait has 3 key features, with a huge fourth one coming shortly. First, image plus video to video. You upload a photo that you want to animate and upload a video called the driving video that has the facial animations that you want transferred onto your photo. Then you just hit the animate button. The processing time is surprisingly quick. Out pops the video of your photo with the facial animations and movements from your driving video. That's it. Simple. Second is the generalization for animals. This is actually pretty cool. They've done a lot of fine-tuning on animal data. Upload an image of an animal, or even your pet dog, and a video of you making all sorts of facial expressions. Then out pops a bizarrely realistic video of your pet dog making your facial expressions. Incredible, although a little bit strange. Third, eyes and lips retargeting. These are the fine-tuned settings that you can apply to your final video. You can control the extent that the eyes and lips open. This gives you the ability to control the exact extent of expressions that you're looking for. The fourth huge update is video plus video to video. This hasn't been released yet, but is due any time now. This will be a huge update and open up all sorts of new creative possibilities. Instead of uploading a source image of a character you want to animate, you'll have the option to upload a video instead. Then you upload the usual additional face expression driving video, and out pops the source video with your facial expressions. The examples released so far really are outstanding in terms of quality, accuracy, and realism. The surprising thing about LivePortrait is not only the range of facial expressions and head movements that it does so well, but the incredibly high, natural, and realistic quality of the resulting video animation. There's a few other face animation AI tools, but these mainly focus on talking photos. You upload a photo and some text or audio, and out pops your animated talking photo. They're actually pretty cool. However, the big drawback is you don't have control over how the face is animated. The tools themselves determine the facial animation, including expressions and movements according to the text or audio uploaded. LivePortrait puts complete facial animation in the control of the creator. Adding in audio on top is the easy part, but getting exactly the facial expressions and movements that you want that actually look realistic, now that's the real hard part. The creative possibilities really are becoming endless. Mixing LivePortrait with an image generator or an audio tool allows you to create much more realistic talking avatars, or create entire AI generated movies with exact character face expressions and movements that look realistic is now easier and better with LivePortrait. Anyway, the best way to really experience LivePortrait is to actually try it yourself. By far the best way to use it is to install it on your local machine. So in this video, I'll be walking through the complete recommended step-by-step installation for LivePortrait on a Windows 11 PC. So, let's crack on. Before we begin, let's open the LivePortrait setup and installation instructions as a reference to follow along to, and an easy source to copy and paste the numerous bits of syntax that we'll need during the installation process. To make it even easier for you, I've numbered and listed each of the bits of syntax that you'll need to copy and paste to save you the hassle of referring back to the LivePortrait GitHub page. I've put these in order in the description below for you. During the video, I'll display the syntax reference number and syntax that you can then find in the description quickly and easily. Anyway, open the LivePortrait GitHub page in your browser. I'll leave the URL link in the description below for you. Then scroll down the page a bit to the Getting Started section. We'll keep things simple for this end-to-end install and follow the recommended process to install LivePortrait and all of its dependencies so that we end up with a clean install without errors that just runs and works correctly. Anyway, let's get stuck into the complete end-to-end LivePortrait installation. The first step is to install Git. so that we can clone the LivePortrait GitHub repository to our PC. If you already have Git installed, then you can jump to the next section. Open the Git page in your browser. I'll leave the URL link in the description below for you. Click on the Download for Windows button. This will open up the Windows download page. We want to download the standalone installer, which comes in 32-bit or 64-bit Windows versions. I'm running a 64-bit version of Windows, so I'll click the 64-bit Git for Windows setup link. On the Save As window, navigate to where you want to save the file. I'll just save it in my E drive. Then click the Save button. Once the file has downloaded, we'll navigate to my E drive and double click the git.exe file to run the installer. Just click the Next button on the first 14 windows that pop up to accept the Git default installation settings. Click the Install button on the last window. Once the installation is finished, untick the View Release Notes checkbox and click the Finish button. That's it. Git has now been installed. On to the next step. Next, we need to copy the LivePortrait GitHub folders and files onto our PC. Decide where you want to install all the files for LivePortrait. I want to install them on my E drive. I usually create a parent folder for each application and then keep everything for that application in there. However, during the LivePortrait cloning process, a LivePortrait parent folder is automatically created, so I'll just clone LivePortrait directly into the root of my E drive. Anyway, I'll navigate to my E drive, then click into the address bar and type in cmd and press enter. This will open the command prompt. Switch back to the LivePortrait GitHub page and select and copy the git clone syntax. Don't use the small copy icon, as that will copy the whole block of text. Then switch back to the command prompt and paste the copied syntax at the prompt and press enter. The cloning process won't take very long. Once it's completed, we can close the command prompt. If we go back to File Explorer, we can see a new folder in the root of my E drive named LivePortrait, and if we open it, we can see all the cloned files and folders in there. Okay, everything looks good. On to the next step. Next, we'll need to install Miniconda, which is a streamlined version of Anaconda, which we'll use to create the required environment and handle the different packages required for LivePortrait. If you already have Anaconda or Miniconda installed, then you can skip to the next section. Open the Miniconda webpage in your browser. I'll leave the URL link in the description below for you. Scroll down the page a bit to the latest Miniconda installer link section. We're not going to download the latest Miniconda version from here, as it comes bundled with the latest release of Python, which we don't need for LivePortrait, and it will cause errors when we go to launch LivePortrait. LivePortrait only requires Python version 3.9.18. Instead, we'll click on the text link Other Installer Links, which opens up the page for the latest Miniconda installer bundled with previous Python versions. Scroll down the page a bit and find the Python 3.10 version. Then click the Miniconda 3 Windows 64-bit link to the right. On the Save As window, navigate to where you want to save the file. I'll select the root of my E drive and then click the Save button. Once the file has downloaded, we'll navigate to my E drive and double click the miniconda.exe file to start the installation. Click Next on the first setup window and I agree on the next window. On the next window, choose whether you want to install for just you or for all users. I'll select just me and then click Next. The next window shows the default installation directory that Miniconda will be installed into. It's worth making a mental note of this location, as we'll need to select it later on. If you selected to install it for just me, then the Miniconda installation folder will be under your username. If you selected to install it for all users, then it will install in the program data folder. Anyway, click Next to install in the default installation directory. Then, on the next window, tick the last checkbox to clear the cache and free up some disk space after installation. Then click Install. Once the installation is completed, click Next. Untick the two checkboxes on the last window and click Finish. To fully complete the installation, we need to add Miniconda to Path for it to be recognised by our system. In the Windows search box, type Edit, and you should see Edit the System Environment Variables in the list of results. Click it and a System's Properties window will pop up. Make sure that the Advanced tab is selected, and towards the bottom of the window, click the Environment Variables button. The Environment Variables window will pop up. The User Variables box at the top is to make changes that will only be available to the current user. If you want Miniconda to be available to all users, then you'll need to make your selections from the System's Variables box below. I only want it to be available to me, so we'll use the first User Variables box. In the top User Variables box, we'll select the Path variable and click Edit. The Edit Environment Variable window will pop up. Now we need to navigate to the Miniconda installation folder location that we made a mental note of earlier. As I installed it for just me, I'll navigate to my C drive, then Users, then my username, then double click and open the newly installed Miniconda 3 folder. If we look down the folders list, we can see a folder named Scripts. We'll double click it to open it. This folder contains the conda.exe file, so this is the folder path that we want to copy. Click into the address bar, right click and select Copy. Go back to the Edit Environment Variable window, click New and paste the copied path in and press Enter. Then we just click the OK button and the next OK button and the next OK button. OK, that should be Miniconda all set up and ready to use. We'll just have a quick check to make sure everything is good. In the Windows search box, type in CMD and then select Command Prompt to launch it. At the prompt, type in Conda, then a space, then -- version, and then press Enter. Conda version 2450 should be returned. If this is the case, then Miniconda is now correctly fully installed and we can close the command prompt. OK, on to the next step. Now we need to create a LivePortrait environment and specify Python version 3918 to use. Go back to File Explorer and select and open the LivePortrait install folder. In the address bar, type in CMD and press Enter to open the command prompt in the LivePortrait directory. Switch back to the LivePortrait GitHub page in your browser. Select and copy the first line of Create syntax under the Create Environment using Conda heading. Go back to the command prompt window and at the prompt, paste in the copied syntax and press Enter. The package details will be shown for download and install, and the path of the new environment will be shown towards the top, which by default is created under your username. At the Proceed prompt, type Y to proceed and then press Enter. Once the packages have been downloaded and installed, the command prompt will return to the starting prompt state. We now need to activate the environment that we just created. Switch back to the LivePortrait GitHub page in your browser. Select and copy the next line of Activate syntax. Go back to the command prompt and paste the copied syntax at the prompt and press Enter. If you get an error saying Conda error run Conda init before Conda activate, then at the prompt just type Conda space init and press Enter. Then you need to close the command prompt window, go back into your LivePortrait folder, type in CMD in the address bar to launch the command prompt again, and then at the prompt paste in the Conda activate LivePortrait syntax again and press Enter. This should solve the error. Anyway, Once the environment has been successfully activated, your prompt will now have LivePortrait in brackets before the standard prompt. So far so good. On to the next step. The final Conda step is to install all the required dependencies. Go back to the LivePortrait GitHub page and copy the next line of syntax to copy the requirements. Then switch back to the command prompt. If for any reason you closed and reopened your command prompt window since the last step and the prompt doesn't have LivePortrait in brackets before the standard prompt, then you need to reactivate the environment as we did before by typing in Conda activate LivePortrait and press enter. Then the LivePortrait in brackets will appear. Anyway, paste the copied syntax at the prompt and press enter. It'll take a bit of time to download and install all of the required files. If you want to see the full list of the required files, just open your LivePortrait folder and open the requirements.txt file. Anyway, let's close that and go back to the command prompt window to wait for the process to finish. When it completes, it'll return to the starting prompt state. We can now close the command prompt. Okay, all done. On to the next step. The next step is to download 2 pre-trained weights folders and move them into the correct LivePortrait folder. Go back to the LivePortrait GitHub page. Under step 2, download pre-trained weights, click the Google Drive link. I'll leave the link to this Google Drive folder in the description below for you. The Google Drive will open and have 2 folders in there, a LivePortrait folder and an Insight Face folder. If we click into these folders, we can see that they both contain a number of required models for LivePortrait. Anyway, go back to the original 2 folders location and click the download icon to the right of the LivePortrait folder. The folder is quite large, so you won't see the Save As window pop up for a bit, as the folder has been prepared and zipped for download, which you can see happening in the bottom right of the screen. When the Save As window does pop up, navigate to and open your LivePortrait folder, then the pre-trained weights folder, and then click Save. Download and save the other Insight Face folder the same way and into the same location. When both files have finished downloading, navigate to and open the pre-trained weights download folder. You'll see the 2 downloaded .zip files in there. We need to unzip them directly into this same folder. Right-click the LivePortrait file, then select Extract All. Then we'll click the Browse button and navigate to our pre-trained weights folder, then hit the Extract button. Then we do exactly the same thing for the Insight Face file. Okay, once both files have been extracted, we can select the original downloaded zip files and delete them to free up some space. Okay, that's the pre-trained weights done. On to the next step. To run LivePortrait, we'll need to have FFmpeg installed. Many of you will already have FFmpeg installed on your computer, so you can just skip to the next step if you do. If you're not sure if you have FFmpeg installed, when you go to run LivePortrait in the next step, you'll see an error message telling you that you don't have it installed, and you can then come back to this step to install it. Or to check if you have FFmpeg installed on your computer, open a command prompt. And at the prompt, type in FFmpeg and press enter. If you get an error message like the one shown on the screen, then you don't have FFmpeg installed. Anyway, on with the FFmpeg installation. Open the FFmpeg web page in your browser. I'll leave the URL link in the description below for you. Click the big green download button to be taken to the download page. Scroll down a bit to the Get Packages and Executable Files section. Click the Windows icon and the Windows specific download links will be shown below. You can choose either of the download source options, but we'll stick with the first one from Gyan.dev. Click the first link and the guion.dev FFmpeg builds page will open. Scroll down a bit past the first Git master build section to the release build section. These are not the very latest builds, but are more tested and stable, so we'll stick with these. In the top box, there's an essentials build and a full build. If you want to know the specific differences of each build type, then take a look at the bottom of the page for the full details. Anyway, we want the FFmpeg release full 7-zip file, so we'll click that link. On the Save As window, we'll navigate to my E drive again and click Save. When the file has finished downloading, we'll navigate to my E drive. We'll then right click on the downloaded file and select Extract All. I want to extract it directly to my E drive, so I'll browse to the root of my E drive, click Select Folder and then click Extract. When the extraction process has completed, we can select the original downloaded 7-zip file and delete it to save some disk space. We'll select the extracted folder and rename it to FFmpeg for simplicity and future-proofing if we upgrade the FFmpeg file versions in the future. We'll move this FFmpeg folder directly to my C drive. We'll select and cut the FFmpeg folder and open my C drive and paste it into the root of the drive. Okay, we're nearly there. To fully complete the installation, we need to add FFmpeg to path for it to be recognised by our system in exactly the same way as we did for Miniconda before. Open the FFmpeg folder on the C drive and then the bin folder. This contains the 3 important ffmpeg.exe files that we need to specify the path to. Click into the address bar and copy the path to these files. In the Windows search box, type edit and you should see edit the system environment variables in the list of results. Click it and the system's properties window will pop up. Make sure the advanced tab is selected and towards the bottom click the environment variables button. The environment variables window will pop up. I only want FFmpeg to be available to me, so we'll use the top user variables box. In the top user variables box, we'll select the path variable and click edit. The edit environment variable window will pop up. Click new and paste the copied path in and press enter. Then we just click the OK button and the next OK button and the next OK button. OK, that should be FFmpeg all set up and ready to use. We'll just have a quick check to make sure everything's good. Open a command prompt and at the prompt type in FFmpeg and press enter. If you get a response like the one shown on the screen, then FFmpeg has been installed and set up correctly, and we can close the command prompt window. Okay, everything looks good, and you'll be glad to know that we just completed the final installation step. That wasn't so bad after all. Now on to launching LivePortrait. You can run LivePortrait through a command line interface, or you can run it via a much more user-friendly graphical user interface using a Gradio UI in your web browser. I prefer the Gradio UI, so we'll use that method. Every time you want to launch LivePortrait, you'll need to take the following same steps. Navigate to and open your LivePortrait folder and launch the command prompt from there by typing in cmd in the address bar and pressing enter. At the prompt, we need to first activate the Conda environment by typing in Conda activate LivePortrait and press enter. Once the environment is correctly activated, you'll see LivePortrait in brackets preceding the prompt. Go back to the LivePortrait GitHub page and scroll down to the Gradio interface section. Select and copy the first line of run syntax. Switch back to the command prompt and at the prompt paste in the copied syntax and press enter. The necessary run files will load and eventually a local URL will be shown where LivePortrait is running. Take a look at the next section to automate this process. Anyway, then you just hold down the Control key on your keyboard and click the URL in the command prompt window to launch LivePortrait in your browser. If the page that you can see on the screen is shown in your browser, then congratulations, you've successfully installed LivePortrait on your local Windows PC. I find it too much hassle every time I want to open LivePortrait to have to open the command prompt and then copy and paste the two different commands. So I created a quick script for myself to do exactly that. I thought it might be useful for some of you, so I'll leave the syntax for the script in the description below if you want to steal it. I'll put it under syntax 06. Anyway, this is the simple script. It just has 3 sections. To use it, go into your LivePortrait parent folder and create a new text document there. You can name the file anything you want, but I named mine run, so we'll use that. Anyway, delete the default new file name, including the .txt file extension, and rename the file to run with a .bat at the end, and press enter. Confirm you want to change the file type from a .txt to a .bat by clicking yes. Right click this new run.bat file and select edit in Notepad. Then copy the syntax in syntax 06 in the description below and paste it into the new file. The only thing you need to change is the location of your LivePortrait folder on the 3rd line. Make sure you only change the path and not the CD/D at the start of the line. I have my LivePortrait folder in the root of my E drive, but you'll probably have yours somewhere different. Once you've edited your LivePortrait path, then save the file. Now when we want to run LivePortrait, we just double click our new run.bat file. Then we control and click the URL as usual. Whilst we're on the subject of tips and tricks, again if you're like me and prefer a dark theme for your web UI instead of the standard light theme, then you can always append the standard syntax onto the end of your URL in your address bar. And then press enter. Again, I'll leave this syntax 07 in the description below for you. Once you've done it once, then next time you launch in light mode, just add a / to the URL and the full dark theme URL will appear below for you to select. Now you know the recommended and complete way to install LivePortrait on your Windows PC, with a couple of handy tips thrown in for safe measure. Now go play. Anyway, hope you found this video helpful and I'll catch you in the next one.